Hello everyone and welcome to the second video of organic chemistry. Okay, let us continue our discussion. We finished the last video on discussion of alkynes. Now let us discuss some more homologous series. To discuss some more homologous series, we should first talk about very important thing in organic chemistry, which is called functional group. You can call it as a identification part or something like as a ID. Like this is something which gives identification to the organic compound, like it belongs from which family. If you can identify the functional group of the organic compound, then you can give him its family name, like it belongs from which family. You can classify it very easily. For example, the one which we discussed before, like if it is carbon carbon single bond and all remaining are hydrogens, we say it is an alkene. So we can also call it like it's a functional group. For example, if you have carbon carbon double bond, this belongs from the family alkene. How do you identify this is an alkene? You identify it with a double bond. So if a double bond is present, you say it's an alkene. So this double bond can be called as the functional group of alkenes. Like for example, carbon carbon triple bond, this is the functional group for alkynes. So these were the homologous series which were only based on carbon and hydrogen. Now let us see some more homologous series which are not hydrocarbons, so it means they will have some other element present in them. For example, another very important homologous series in organic chemistry, you have carbon bonded with OH. You have one carbon and that carbon is bonded with OH. This is a functional group. This is from the family of alcohol. We call it alcohol. When you have one carbon and it's bonded with OH, this is known as alcohol. For example, what will be the suffix OL? Like let's take a structure. We have a carbon bonded with carbon, bonded with carbon, bonded with carbon, and then we have a OH. When nothing is there, it means this is hydrogen. Okay, consider it as hydrogen. Like you have all hydrogens here, and one of the carbon here, one of the carbon is attached with OH. When you look at this, because this is an O now, this cannot be a hydrocarbon, because hydrocarbon can only be a compound which is based on carbon and hydrogen, but this is based on, now oxygen is also there, so this cannot be hydrocarbon. Which family it is, you need to remember this. When a carbon is bonded with OH, it's called alcohol family, so this is an alcohol. Now how many carbons are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. In the last video we discussed that when 4 carbons are there, we say it is what? Bute. And the suffix of alcohol is ol. So how do we name alcohols? We say this is bute, so it's called butanol. Don't say it's butol, consider it's butanol. So similarly, you can give names to all the alcohols. Just the number of carbons will change. For example, if it is 3 carbon and then you have a OH, now 3 carbon is called prop, so it can be called propanol. In the end should be OL. 5 carbon pentanol, 6 carbon hexanol. So this functional group is one OH. Carbon with OH, we call it alcohol. Now there is one more. See this one. When you have a carbon, one carbon double bonded with O, okay, and single bonded with H. The carbon is double bonded with O and single bonded with H. This family is called aldehyde family. This family of organic chemistry is called aldehyde. This is a homologous series, and in the end you will find Al in this one. So for example, if I give you an example here, carbon bonded with carbon and they have another carbon double bonded with O, single bonded with H, and these are all will be hydrogens. Now you want to identify which compound it is. How can you name it? To name it, you want to identify the functional group. So you see, this is the functional group. Carbon double bonded with O, single bonded with H. When you have this type of functional group present in the compound, you say this is which family? This is aldehyde family. So what will be the name of this one? It is 3 carbon. 3 carbon is called prop, so we call it what? Propanol. Similarly, if it was 4 carbon, we can say it is butanol. 5 carbon, we can say it is pentanol. Let me show you one more as an example. Look at this functional group now. You have a carbon it is bonded right side with carbon and it's bonded left side also with carbon. So you have a carbon, on both sides you have carbon, and this is bonded with O. This is bonded with O. Okay, like a carbon. Right side there is a carbon also, left side there is a carbon also, and it's bonded with double bond with O. This functional group is called ketone family. This is for ketones. In the end, you will find one in them. So it's a 3 carbon. The minimum one can be 3 carbon, so it is called propanone. Propanone. So what is the summary? Summary is that if you identify the functional group, then it become easy to pick the family. And organic chemistry, these homologous series, keep this thing in mind, they do have difference in their physical properties. Their physical properties do differ. For example, boiling point. Boiling point will differ because when you increase the number of carbons, the forces increases, so the boiling point, melting point, they do increase, but their chemical properties are the same. They react the same way. The series will react the same way, methanol will react same way, ethanol will react, all alcohols will react the same, all aldehydes will react the same. So if you identify their family, it becomes easy to study them. That's why classification is very important in organic chemistry. There's one more very important functional group, which is like you have a carbon, it's like double bond with O and single bond with OH. Okay, and here can be any number of carbons. You have carbon, double bond with O and single bond with OH. If you find this functional group in any compound, you will say this is which family? This is carboxylic acid family. This is carboxylic acid. And the end you will find OIC in them. For example, it's a 2 carbon, for example, carbon double bond with carbon, and you have a double bond with O and single bond with OH. You want to identify where is the functional group. This is the functional group. This is carboxylic acid family. So 2 carbon is called eth. So how do we name carboxylic acid? We'd say it is ethanoic acid. This is ethanoic acid. Similarly, if it is like 3 carbon, you can say it's propanoic acid. 4 carbon, you can say it's like butanoic acid, and we can continue like this. There are many other functional groups. For now, step by step, if we'll go, these 4 are enough to study because they are based on carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Like if you have a carbon double bond with O, single bond with H, we call it an aldehyde. Only double bond with O and surroundings are carbons, we call it ketone. And similarly, we discussed about carboxylic acids. Let me show you some examples here. See, this is alcohol, this is aldehyde, and this is ketone. This is their general formulas. So you see in alcohols, you have OH in them. Carbon is bonded with OH. This is 3 carbon, this is 4 carbon, this is 5 carbon. Look at aldehyde. It is double bond with O and single bond with H. And for ketones, you have double bond with O.